His name was Daniel Marsh, and the universe had never been particularly fond of him. He was 34 years old, living in a one-bedroom apartment in Harwick, where the radiator clicked all night and the hot water lasted exactly 7 minutes. He worked the afternoon shift at a hardware store on Colburn Avenue, selling bolts and cork guns to men who owned things worth fixing. Daniel did not own much worth fixing. It hadn't always felt this way. In his 20s, he'd told himself the luck would turn. He'd tried a small landscaping business. A truck breakdown finished that. He'd invested his savings in a cousin's food truck. The cousin moved to Delport and never looked back. He'd dated a woman named Claire for 2 years, and she left him for someone with a functioning car and a dog. Even small things went sideways. He won a radio contest once, a pair of concert tickets, and came down with a fever the night of the show. People who knew Daniel liked him. He was quiet and steady, with a dry way of saying things that made people smile when they weren't expecting to. But liking someone and inviting them to your table are different things, and Daniel had spent a long time eating alone. On a Tuesday in October, nothing extraordinary announced itself. He walked home from his shift in the dark, hands in his jacket pockets, passing a gas station and a boarded laundromat and a Korean barbecue place that smelled like the best thing in the world. He bought a lottery scratch ticket at the gas station. A habit, not a hope. He scratched it standing under the fluorescent awning, lost as always. He dropped it in the trash and walked on. It was somewhere on Varnell Street, between a broken streetlight and a bus shelter with a missing bench, that it happened. No flash of light, no sound, just a stillness that dropped over him like a held breath, and then a quiet that felt different from ordinary quiet. He stopped walking. He didn't know why, but a question formed in his mind, automatic, almost accidental. Will it rain before I get home? And somewhere beneath thought, beneath feeling, a single word surfaced. True. He looked up at the sky. Heavy clouds sat low over the city, grey-bellied and close. He walked faster. It started raining 2 blocks from his building. Daniel did not sleep that night. He lay on top of his covers, staring at the ceiling, turning it over in his mind. One word, not a feeling, not a guess, a fact, delivered from somewhere beneath thought, clean and certain as a light switching on. He sat up. Will it snow tomorrow? False, he wrote it in his phone. Then he lay back down and waited. It did not snow. He called in sick the next day. He sat at his kitchen table with a notepad and a pen and started small. Will I drop this pen if I let go of it? True. He let go. The pen hit the table. Is this coffee still hot? False. He touched the mug. Stone cold. He flipped the pen in the air. Before he let it go, he asked, Will I catch this? False. He tried anyway. It bounced off his thumb and skittered under the fridge. He sat back down and wrote the first rule. It does not lie. By afternoon, he had worked out the rest. It only answered yes or no questions. Anything open-ended returned silence. Will I be happy someday? Gave him nothing. But will the hardware store offer me a raise this year? Came back instantly. False. The second rule. It only answers things it can know. Physical certainties, upcoming events, outcomes already determined by the shape of things in motion. It could not tell him what a person was thinking, but it could tell him what they would do. He tested it carefully. Will my landlord fix the boiler this month? False. He tested 23 questions that afternoon and tracked them in the notebook. By evening, every single one had proven out. He sat back and looked at what he had. Not a probability, not a suggestion. A fact about the future, delivered on demand with perfect accuracy. He did not know where it came from. He was not sure it mattered. He picked up the pen. Will this ability still be working 1 year from now? True. He closed the notebook. He did not sleep that night either. But this time it was not anxiety keeping him awake. It was arithmetic. He quit his job on Friday. No 2 weeks' notice. He handed in his apron, shook his manager's hand, and walked out onto Colburn Avenue into a bright, cold morning, feeling lighter than he had in years. He had a plan. It had taken him 2 days to build, and it was very simple. The Harwick State Lottery drew every Saturday night. 6 numbers, 1 jackpot. Daniel sat at his kitchen table on Friday evening with the notebook open and a lottery slip in front of him. Is the first winning number this Saturday lower than 10? True. He wrote it down. Then he started narrowing. Is the first number lower than 5? False. Is the first number 6? iCompany said valse. Is the first number 8? True. He wrote down 8. Then he moved to the second number and did it again. It took 40 minutes. When he was done, he had 6 numbers on the slip, and his hand was completely steady. He bought the ticket Saturday morning at the gas station on Varnell Street, the same one where he'd bought losing scratch tickets for 4 years. He handed over $2 and put the slip in his jacket pocket and went home and made breakfast. He watched the draw on his laptop Saturday night with a bowl of pasta on his lap. The numbers came up one by one. 8, 22, 31, 44, 47, 11. His numbers, all 6. He put the pasta down very carefully on the coffee table. He looked at the screen. He looked at the ticket. He looked at the screen again. The jackpot that week was $4,300,000. He sat very still for a long time. Then he got up, put the ticket in the notebook between 2 pages, put the notebook in the kitchen drawer, and went to bed. He had things to do on Monday. He did not tell anyone. Not a neighbor, not an old colleague, not the cousin who had taken his food truck money to Delport and gone silent. He had read enough about lottery winners to know that money announced loudly becomes money complicated quickly. He found a lawyer on Monday morning, asked the right question before calling. Will this lawyer handle my claim competently and discreetly? True. And by Friday, the claim was filed through a trust structure that kept his name out of the public record. 6 weeks later, $4,300,000 arrived in an account that had previously held $412. Daniel Marsh looked at the balance on his phone screen while standing in the kitchen of his apartment on Varnell Street. Then he started making calls.